This is the Dabbsson DBS1000Pro, and the reason it stands out for me is simple. It charges fast enough to matter on a busy day, and it runs the real appliances I actually care about when the power goes out or when I am away from an outlet. I put this squarely in the portable solar generator category. It is a large battery with a smart inverter that you can charge from a wall socket, a 12-volt car outlet, a gas generator, or solar panels. It is best for campers, road trippers in a recreational vehicle, and anyone who wants a dependable backup for blackouts without installing a permanent system. I am not treating it like a piece of lab equipment. I am treating it like a tool that has to be easy to move, easy to charge, and predictable when an appliance needs to stay on. The design looks modern without trying too hard. The body is compact and clean, with a matte black and gray finish that hides scuffs. The handle is solid and shaped in a way that makes the 30-something pounds feel manageable instead of awkward. It is not feather light. Carrying it across a parking lot is fine. Carrying it for a long walk is not. The rubber feet keep it planted when you set it on a smooth floor, and the footprint lets it tuck against a wall or under a desk without hogging space. The screen is bright, legible, and still visible when sunlight hits it at an angle. The ports face forward so I do not have to spin it around to plug things in, and the alternating current outlets have enough spacing that chunky plugs do not block each other. There is a built-in light-emitting diode panel on the side that has multiple brightness levels and a flashing mode. I thought I would never use that. Then I used it to pack up after dark at a campground, and again when I needed to check a breaker during an outage. It turns out that having a light attached to your power source is more helpful than a separate flashlight that gets lost. Setup was close to effortless. Out of the box, I plugged it into the wall, and the charging fan spun up with a steady whoosh but not a whine. The mobile application was straightforward. I paired it on the first try, named the unit, and could see the input and output numbers, turn outlets on and off, and set a charging schedule. I like that I can cap the charge level for storage and let it top up to full before a trip. That small detail helps with battery health if you do not need it to sit at 100% all the time. The buttons have a firm click, and the interface makes sense even if you never open the mobile application. Cables for wall charging, car charging, and solar were included in the box, so I did not have to go hunting for a special adapter. The core performance is where this thing earned my trust. It delivers about 2,000 watts of continuous output, and that number actually means something in daily use. I have run a full-size kitchen refrigerator, a drip coffee maker, and a laptop at the same time without tripping the protection. When a fridge compressor kicks on, there is a brief surge, and the inverter handled it cleanly with no flicker and no error beeps. I could feel the cooling fan ramp up under that kind of load, so you will hear it in a quiet room, but it is a low, steady noise rather than a high-pitched whir. When I back off to lighter loads like a router, a laptop, and a couple of lamps, it gets almost silent. Voltage stayed stable on my meter, and sensitive electronics did not complain. The unit also has the ability to scale. If you add expansion batteries and connect a second unit, you can push the output up to around 4,400 watts. That is not something I need every day, but it is good to know there is a path to grow if my setup changes. Charging speed matters more than any spec sheet bragging about capacity. This is where the DBS1000Pro did not waste my time. From empty, alternating current wall charging pours in around 1,200 watts. In practice, I saw the gauge go from near zero to roughly 80% in about 50 minutes, give or take a few, depending on ambient temperature. That meant I could grab a shower, pack the cooler, and have a nearly full station before heading out. With decent sun and a set of panels that can feed enough current, I reached a similar 80% target in just under an hour on a clear spring day. Clouds slow things down, of course, but the solar controller did a solid job tracking input without me fiddling. Car charging from a 12-volt outlet is slower, and I treat it as a way to top up while driving, not a primary method. The important part is that I do not have to wait half a day to get usable power. Battery tech is another area that matters over the long haul. The company uses a semi-solid lithium iron phosphate chemistry here, and the claim is up to 15 years of use with around 4,500 cycles before the pack drops to 80% of its original capacity. I obviously have not had it for 15 years, but I have been cycling it hard every week for a while. The charge percentage and runtime estimates have stayed consistent, and that consistency builds trust. The case has not creaked, the ports still feel snug, and the handle has not loosened up. Real-world testing is where the truth lives. During a recent storm, power went out just before dinner. I moved the fridge over, plugged in the wireless network router, a lamp, and my laptop charger. The station did not flinch. The fridge cycled through the night, and by morning I was still well above the halfway mark. I brewed a full pot of coffee without fear of tripping anything, then used a portable induction plate on low to medium power to scramble eggs. The inverter noise rose a bit during cooking, as expected, but there were no overload alarms. Later that day, I ran an extension to the living room and let my family charge phones and a tablet while I kept the fridge running. When the sun broke through, I set out 2 folding solar panels in the yard and watched the input climb. I was back to a comfortable buffer before sunset. On a camping weekend, I used it for the fridge in the car, a couple of camp lights, a camera charger, and a small fan at night. I also ran a compact air pump to top up an air mattress and later a cordless tool battery charger. The power station never felt like a limiting factor. It felt like an outlet I brought with me. The only time it reminded me of its weight was when I carried it from the site to a distant picnic area. You can do it, but you would not want to do it twice. In a recreational vehicle, it tucked under a bench and powered a laptop, a monitor, and a small heater on low during a chilly morning. I would not push a space heater on high for hours with a station at this size, because that will drain any portable unit quickly, but for a boost while you make breakfast, it does the job. There are a few thoughtful features that make life easier. The mobile application scheduling is genuinely useful for off-peak charging or for protecting battery health. The overload and temperature protections behave sensibly, and recovery is quick after you unplug the offending device. Pass-through power, meaning you can charge the station while it powers other gear, worked fine during a quick solar test before a rain shower rolled in. The light-emitting diode light sounds like a gimmick until you need it. The display gives you input and output information at a glance, and the time to empty and time to full estimates are close enough that I can plan around them. The ports are placed logically, and the included cables meant I did not get stuck when I forgot a generic adapter at home. It is not perfect. The fan is noticeable when you are fast charging from the wall or pushing a heavy load. It is a reasonable trade-off for cooling, but it is there. The display does not dim all the way down, so if you sleep near it, you might want to turn the screen off entirely or face it away. The mobile application reconnected quickly most of the time, but once it took a few extra seconds to find the unit after I returned from a walk with the phone. None of those are deal breakers, just realities of using a device like this every day. As for portability, the weight is better than many competitors with similar power, but it is still a chunky carry if you have to move it far. Who should consider this? If you want a power station that balances capacity, output, and speed in a way that feels usable in daily life, this one hits the sweet spot. It is strong enough to run a fridge and a coffee maker without weird workarounds, charges fast enough that you do not plan your day around it, and scales if you add expansion batteries or pair a second unit later. Campers, people who travel by recreational vehicle, and homeowners who want to ride out a blackout with some confidence will get the most value. If you need something to backpack with, this is not it. If you want to run heavy-duty heating or cooling for long stretches, you should look at a larger system. For most practical tasks, though, I keep reaching for the Dabbsson DBS1000Pro because it behaves like a dependable outlet I can take anywhere. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the Dabbsson DBS1000Pro. Thank you for watching.